Men living with disability can and want to be productive members of our society. So let's try apply the WHO data as it is right now. United Nations approximates that we have around 52 million Kenyans as of today in estimates. And WHO says that around 10% of this population live with disability as it is. So we're looking at a rough population of around 5 million people. And I think you are achieved in the line of academia and many others who have had the same chances and opportunities as you have had are not where you are. What can you say has gotten you to the place where you are at right now?
Oh, thank you very much. That data from WHO, I think some part of it is even left out. Mm-hmm. It is even more than 10% because right from the time that data was taken up to date, right, there's a lot of accidents which has taken place. Right. There are those people who are born with disabilities. These people are not captured. And so, according to me, that data is supposed to be around 20%, right, persons living with disability. But leaving that one alone, whatever has made me to be where I am today is, number one, it's a matter of having something to die for. That is, in life, you must set your priorities right. Right. There must be something you want to die for. I call it a worthy cause. There's a reformist in America known as Martin Luther, who once said that if you do not have a cause to die for, then you have no cause to live as well. So it means even persons with disability, they must have a cause to die for. Right. If you don't have something to surrender for in life, something that you champion, then you can reach nowhere. So for me to reach where I am, I had something to champion in life. Right. And that is my studies after I had lost my sight. I had to champion for my education so that at least I reach somewhere. That is why today I'm where I am. Right. Yeah.
Take me around issues to do with now integration per se, or even inclusion itself. How do you get around? How do you access premises around? Because there's still a lot of complaint on a lot of buildings not having what I'd call adapted specifications to allow people living with disabilities to get around easily. Mm-hmm. Right.
Okay. That is true, but in some areas, like let's say, for example, in Kenyatta University, right, they have tried so much. And if you compare it with any other institution around, you'll realize that Kenyatta University is at its best. Because in most cases, you'll find that there are pavements all over. Right. Houses have ramps. There are even lifts. And only in the older buildings, when disability was not catered for, during what was not planned for, that those are some places where you cannot access easily. But still, because of friends, most of the times we don't walk alone. Right. We have friends, so they will help us access the services there.
Right. Amazingly so. So corporates are taking it as part of their business to take care of people living with disabilities. I'd ask if you'd say that this integration has been a success so far.
Actually, integration has not been successful.
What would you allude that to?
According to research done by Clifford or Otieno, who is myself, in the year, if you Google for Clifford Otieno 2019, right, you'll see his findings that integration has not been successful. It is not operational. Right. It is something which people just talk of, but they don't put it into practice. Like, for example, you'll realize that these corporate bodies, they will use this particular notion to get money. Right. Once they have gotten money, you'll realize that the management will not implement whatever was proposed. Like, for example, you'll realize that we talk of inclusion. And as we talk of inclusion, most of the teachers are not trained in special needs education. Right. So how will you have integration if teachers are not trained? How will you have integration if, for example, in the special unit schools, you have not specialized the children according to their disabilities. You'll realize in one school, there are those people with mental challenge.
Right.
In the same school, there are those people with hearing impairments. The same school, there are people with visual impairments. Yet, in some cases, you realize that there's no teacher at all, or there's one teacher. While this teacher was only specialized in one area, how can you integrate such in such a case? You see, it is a failure.
It becomes tough.
It becomes very difficult.
And this calls on both the public and the private sector to partner where possible to improve integration. What is your determination of this? Has that been a success, the partnerships between the both public and private sectors?
Okay, I'm happy. Both the public and the private sectors are trying so much so that integration can take place. Like, I'm very, very happy with Safaricom, KCB, bank, and other corporate bodies.
Right.
They have really tried. Like, for example, you realize that Safaricom, for instance, just recently they rolled out this program of even giving white canes to people who do not see, so that their mobility can be increased. You realize that KCB Bank, for example, is even having attachments for them. And you see, even as at now, as we speak, Kenyatta University, which is a public institution, is liaising with Safaricom, which is a private institution, so that the persons with disability in the public campuses can be served within the Safaricom.
Right. And I think all this goodwill is coming in, but the most sad state of affairs is that even in the presence of such opportunities, people living with disabilities sometimes don't show up for these. Some end up in the streets, a lot of them for that matter. What are we doing wrong?
Okay, that one is true. But one thing which happens, which most of us, you know, when somebody has acquired disability, especially the ones which is acquired, somebody must go through that state of denial. And if there are no people, maybe to talk to you, people to mentor you, it becomes very, very difficult, especially at home. You realize that this thing has just come abruptly. Those people at home do not know what to do about with you, and then you are there. So it becomes very, very difficult. That is the time where they start seeing you as a liability. Right. And in such a case, they see better you go to the street so that you can beg as you fend for your daily living.
Right.
But
I think that is definitely a myth and misconception that we'll be getting to disapprove in just a bit. Let's take a look at this. Cultural narratives on disability have received much attention over the past few decades, unlike in the past. However, stigmatization still remains one of the biggest challenges that need to be addressed, even as the government regulates policies that are more inclusive for people living with disabilities. Take a look.